Welcome to Over the Falls podcast with myself, Dave Lewis, Med Rendell, and Luke Dukes Jones. The premise for this podcast is to cut out the stigma that men don't talk, to try and support each other, sit down, chat, and try and put the world to right. Initially, we will be picking a subject at random, but as we go further along in the podcast series, we will be introducing guests from the local area, nationally, and who knows, even internationally. So here we go.
Cheers, everybody.
Okay, here we go. Over the Falls podcast, number 7. How are we going to start with this one off?
Right. I would like to revisit something that we touched on a couple of episodes ago. Pretty sure it was in the food episode.
Yeah.
And we were sort of really briefly talking about the Ironman that you did, and then a number of other things that happened sort of roughly in a year sort of gap that sounded really sort of stressful. But before we get to sort of all that, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about the Ironman. So sort of like maybe even like why you even decided to do the Ironman. I guess that would have been the original point, and then just sort of see where it takes us, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Decided to do the Ironman because my brother sort of planted the seed after he swum the channel and was like,
Yeah.
You should do an Ironman. And I sort of looked at him and went, there's no way I'm doing an Ironman.
You're crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, but...
Was that fitness-wise, or was that just like the state of your life at that point?
No, it was, well, I guess
'Cause
fitness-wise...
I reckon, like, I've known you a long time, and I reckon you could have physically done it if, you know...
Yeah.
Let's say you were just a single man, channeled all that energy into doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think mentally as well, though, because, I mean, it's hell of a daunting thing to sort of sign up to, because you're just looking at it and looking at the distances, you're like, it's a crazy thought.
Yeah.
And I can understand as well that there's a huge amount of training to get even to that start line. Yeah. And I was quite negative. I was just like, no, you know, there's no way I'm going to do it. But what happened was, like, a few years later, after Gav did his swim, I signed up for Cardiff Half Marathon.
Yeah.
In 2018. And then basically I was running a lot, but I was getting problems with shin splints.
Oof.
And I don't know if you know much about shin splints, but it can get like really painful, and the only way to deal with it is rest. So with shin splints, and I couldn't rest because I wanted to get a really good time on my half marathon. So
Were you wearing Dr. Mines?
Yeah, I was going to say...
Some of the time.
I didn't want to interject into his flow there, but like the only person I remember even complaining of shin splints ever was Dukes in school, because his shins used to crack like as he walked. And he'd say it was from tennis, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Tennis.
Maybe
Shin splints they're really painful.
What is it muscle? Because
I don't know. It feels like bone.
Because it sounds
I couldn't give
disgusting.
it a technical term of it, but
sounds horrible.
say, yeah, it's just quite painful basically if you've run too much or you've run too much too soon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then it can catch up with some people. It did with me. So what I did was to sort of compensate not training or resting. I would go and do a spin class, or I'd go and do a swim.
This is when you were training for the
keep
half.
the fitness up.
Just to keep the fitness up, because I didn't want to rest, because I was like determined to like beat my time. You know, I was in that sort of mode of just...
You want your cardio to be up, I suppose, and stuff like that.
And yeah, exactly.
How far is it?
A half marathon is 13.1 miles, and the Cardiff one's really good. To anyone listening who ever wants to do a half marathon, the Cardiff one's brilliant.
Is it loads of
It's
up and
quite
down,
flat.
or pretty flat?
Pretty flat, but there's a sneaky hill at the end. Or there's one sort of a few miles in up in Penarth, but then there's like a real sneaky hill coming up into Cateys, which catches up with everybody because it's like really close at the end.
I would hate that.
Like a bottle
if I was doing that half
off.
marathon, I'd hate that hill at the end.
It does catch people out.
Boy.
So yeah, but as time went on there, I thought, I'm really enjoying the swimming, and like the bike I didn't really enjoy the bike, if I'm completely honest.
Okay.
But that's gave me the thought then of, actually a triathlon's quite cool, because I just want to state as well that I've never done a triathlon in my life.
No.
And
was the first one you did an Ironman?
well, no, the first one I've ever signed up to was an Ironman.
Yes.
But
yeah.
the lead up
during
to
training,
it,
like...
I did half Ironman and then a full Ironman.
Right. Okay.
So I hadn't actually done the first triathlon I'd ever done was a half.
Yeah. Okay.
Half distance.
But it was the Cardiff Marathon, half marathon, that put you in the mindset, I guess, or you were, I'll take that off and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I had to have discussions with my partner, my wife, because
of course,
it was we already had a one-year-old at the time, and then
and he slept really well, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I guess you're taking on that as a family to go towards a goal. Yeah. It's not just sort of yourself, isn't it?
No, exactly. So yeah, you have to get everyone involved basically. So decided to we're going to do this, and then if I just talk about the Ironman training and just the lead up to it and things, obviously it takes a huge amount of commitment.
Yeah.
You're probably training 3 to 4 nights a week, and then you've got a swim on like a Saturday morning and then a long bike ride on the Sunday. Because if anyone who doesn't know what an Ironman is, the full distance triathlon is 2.4 mile swim, followed by 112 miles on the bike, and then it's 26.2 mile run at the end. So
which is a full marathon.
A full marathon at the end of all of that.
That is insane. I couldn't even, don't know, even like a marathon for me, I've never run a marathon, or let alone a half marathon, so that would be like so daunting for me, thinking about doing all that, and then, by the way, you've got to do a marathon on the back end of all that.
At the back end of it all. Yeah. And I signed up to the Welsh one as well, which was renowned for being one of the toughest because of how hilly it is.
And whereabouts is that?
Tenby.
Tenby.
Yeah, absolutely incredible event. It really is. Yeah. And, looking back at it, it was one hell of a day.
Yeah.
And the support there is just absolutely incredible.
Good. Much deserved. That's an insane amount of physical endurance.
Yeah.
And mental to get through that.
Well, just to get to that start line
as well. The demons you're going through. Swimming.
Oh, man. It's not just rocking up on the day, is it? It's like, it's like, what, 8 months solid training of blood, sweat and tears?
11 months, pretty much.
Wow.
10, 11 months. But obviously, I'd already had that base fitness from training for the Cardiff Half Marathon.
Yeah.
So I just led through that to build up and up and up. So I had a really good coach called Mark Whittle, Whittle Fit. Brilliant. If anyone wants to sort of do these sort of endurance events, I mean, he coaches people who do absolutely mental distances. I don't even go into it.
He's a serious coach then.
Serious coach. Got a lot of people through the Ironman. Got a lot of people through, like, what are they called? The marathons. The
ultra marathons.
Ultra marathons. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my God, what's that?
Just anything over 26.2 miles, basically. So people will go 50, 60, 70 mile runs.
They go off in the desert with their camelbacks, and they go with the hats and nuts. Yeah,
that's the Marathon des Sables. Terrible pronunciation, but they do seven marathons in 7 days, basically, across the desert.
Oh my goodness.
Right, talking about this, literally only going to sidestep it a touch, but that Eddie Izzard, what a
he did one a day, didn't he?
Didn't he do how many did he do? Because that is crazy, isn't it?
Didn't he do something like 25 marathons, 25 days?
Something like that. Crazy. And then apparently, he trained beforehand. Don't get me wrong, he must. But I think I remember hearing he wasn't like a prolific runner all through his life or anything like that. Like, he just obviously must have trained really, really hard, and then I guess you'd understand it better than me. Really mentally tough, I'd imagine, to do something like that, or an Ironman like yourself. Pretty tough mentally, I imagine.
Well, it was, and I had my moments.
I'm sure
everyone does training for something like that, because a lot of the time, like, first of all, I hadn't actually ridden a road bike until January that year, so that was a real baptism of fire for me. Going out on the bike.
When was it?
September. So January onwards. I was training a lot on my own as well, so I was, especially on the longer rides.
Yeah.
It was a lot of this.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not afraid to admit it. 3-4 hours into a ride, I'd pull over on the side of the road and I'd have tears in my eyes, because I was just like, I just can't do this anymore. Because the amount of time you're thinking, kind of like on your own.
Yeah, dude.
And you're on the bike. I didn't have any music because I was on a lot of the roads leading out of Cardiff. It was
Could be dangerous. Yeah.
Really, really dangerous. So, you are battling mentally all the time, but then, it was, you get yourself through it. And I did text my coach, I think it was sort of April, maybe earlier than that, actually. I don't know when it was.
So you started with him in January?
Started with him in November.
Oh, pardon me. Yeah, okay.
At the end, in 2018. And
so
then,
this is April. Yeah.
Yeah. And I said to him, I can't do this anymore. Because it was just.
Do you reckon he was waiting for that? I bet he gets. I bet he gets that a lot.
Oh, he must. It must not have been the first time
he's probably
heard
prepared.
that.
Like, okay.
And also, I'm assuming you're working through all this.
Yeah, well, this is the other thing.
Job, family, other commitments.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm a student and then I'm going training in the morning and going back to bed.
No.
It wasn't any of that.
No.
You know, it was exceptionally tough because of everything else that's going on in your life as well. But without the support of, like, say, my sister-in-law Fionn, who's absolutely amazing through that period, and my wife and everything. You know, you've got everyone's involved around you basically. You know, it's a really selfish thing to do. Really, if you think about it.
It is, but it's there's a balance there. I think if your partners and significant others and family understand why you want to do it and understand what it is, you know, there's got to be a respect there and. Yeah, fucking.
And it's sort of
get
like
on it. Go for
almost like a once in a lifetime thing. It's not to say you're not going to do another Ironman, but like I imagine there's a lot of people out there who do one Ironman. I could imagine other people get really into it and want to do it all the time.
Like, say you've done one of those.
Huge achievement. And then also like people's I don't know like like family life or kids or but then this was sort of one of the reasons why I wanted to sort of talk about this sort of subject and stuff like that. And I don't know, that year you sort of said that you already had your eldest child. So how old would he have been when you sort of started training, I suppose, if you know what I mean?
He'd have been 1 and then he'd have been 2 May that year in 2019. And
then when was the event? And obviously number 2?
Number 2 came along 3 weeks before the event. So we found out that Catherine my wife was pregnant then from January onwards. And then that kind of, it kind of made me rethink everything.
Yeah, so you got to April, didn't you? And you texted your coach.
Well, I think it might have been sooner thinking about it now. Yeah, because it was just like, oh my God, you know, obviously my wife's going to be pregnant throughout the whole of this as well. So she's going to need help and support. So that's why I say, you know, again, I'll mention it, like Fionn, my sister-in-law was absolutely incredible because she helped a lot when I was like off on the bike or I was going out. After work and things, so she was,
no pun intended. Did you ever plan on pulling out? I mean, the event now.
Nice. Yes, I did.
But I mean, like,
that's a good one. Yes.
Of the event, because you know it's tough enough, isn't it? I remember back when I had, one child and they're not sleeping and stuff like that, and then you're training for an Ironman, and then you're thinking like, Kat's pregnant and stuff like that. How did that? Obviously, you were over the moon. I'm sure you were.
Of course
but then, just
in
terms of the Ironman, obviously you're over the moon for Catherine being pregnant and stuff. But I'm talking about how it affected the Ironman training and stuff like that, I suppose.
Once again, it was just I was lucky to have a bit of support down there in Cardiff where we were living at the time. So it did affect it a little bit at times because I tried to stick to the coaching plan as much as I could, but then some nights it was like my partner needed a break because obviously she's pregnant.
Definitely.
And you're like, I text my coach, I can't do it tonight.
Yeah.
And I've got to look after the little one's ill So I mean it didn't hinder it, but obviously there's times where I couldn't fully commit to the training. But you can only do as much as you can do.
Yeah.
And do as much as you can.
Did you have any injuries as well? I'm not talking like serious injuries, but I imagine when you train for something like that, I imagine you get like niggles on the way, small little injuries here and there. You talk about shin splints as well.
Yeah, it was really weird because the more bike training I did, my shin splints just disappeared. So it obviously strengthened my calves or whatever it did, or the muscles around the shins, and I was fine then. But what happened is maybe 4 months before the actual event, I was getting real bad pains underneath my right knee. And I had to stop running for 2 months.
No way.
Yeah, so 2 months off running completely. So
did you just do a lot of swimming in that time?
Lots more swimming and lots more on the bike, basically.
Low impact training and stuff like that.
And then sort of 2 months before the event, I would then just do like running, very light running, walk, just to sort of ease myself back in. It didn't get diagnosed with anything. It was just, I think.
No, but niggles and stuff like that. I imagine,
but I didn't like to run on it at all.
No, I can imagine not many people feel maybe like 100% going into an event like that. No. Or is me strapping something up, or I imagine, not that I've been through it, but I can only imagine.
But I mean, to be honest with you, when I got to that beach in Tenby that morning, I was ready.
Oh, I bet. I bet you had. Did you have a bit of adrenaline when you were on that beach? I imagine.
Oh, it's incredible.
Do you have an adrenaline dump at all?
No.
Dave's cave.
No, yeah.
No, I mean, like, kind of go up and then kind of come crashing back down.
No, I didn't, because I don't know. I was just really focused, and I was just I knew. It's weird. I just knew I was going to finish it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But that's really good to think like that.
Yeah, and like I said, I was ready, because the amount of training I'd done, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going off too fast, because I wasn't racing. I was there to get through it and finish it. I did have a time in mind, which I didn't get in the end.
Who cares?
Who cares? It's a marathon.
Who cares?
So it's a marathon, a small half marathon, isn't it?
No.
Sorry.
What, the Ironman now? Yeah. 2.4 mile swim to start. So it's an open water swim round Tenby. Yeah. South Beach twice.
Oh, so it's swim first.
Swim first.
Right,
then
sorry,
bike,
I thought it was run first.
Then run, yeah.
How far's the run then?
It's a full marathon. So 26.2 miles.
Yeah. Sorry. Right. I'm with you.
It's a long. Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
It's funny because I didn't do any research on the run at all, because I didn't want it to worry me.
Because it's at the end.
Because it's right at the end, and I thought, so if I can just get off the bike with enough time, because there's cut-off times as well. See,
so basically, like, do not finish sort of thing.
Yeah. If you don't meet those times,
I bet there's some people probably crying their eyes out because they didn't meet that cut-off point or whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head now, but basically, if you don't get round the swim in time, that cut-off time, you're out.
Oh, and you trained so hard for like a year to sort of do it.
Because you could be like a really good cyclist.
Yeah.
Yeah, smash that
like
bit.
Like the worst section for you. So they're thinking, I've just got to get out of this water to get on the bike, but then they might not even reach the bike, and their day's over.
And they could have had a hell of a good other two events.
Yeah.
And they could have been like more than made up for it, and maybe got a pretty good time. You know what I mean? Another thing I was going to mention is, because you mentioned on a previous episode, was sort of like sometimes you struggle with sleep. And when you're sort of mixing up children, training for an event, just things like that, how did you sleep on the lead up and before the event?
To be honest, because I was working as well, and we only had one child.
Yeah.
And were you in between houses at that point too? Or
this is where
that was another.
Yeah, we'll come to.
We'll definitely
come
to
that's another bit of the cauldron.
Yeah, but there's sleep-wise, I basically was sleeping in a different room.
Yeah.
And with earplugs in, because I had to work.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to work. You know, I was up at sort of 6:30, 6:00 in the morning, getting to site for 7:00 in the morning, not getting home till sometimes 5:30, 6:00 at night.
Yeah.
So I needed my rest, obviously. So leading up to the event, anxious-wise, not so much.
Okay, maybe because you were so busy, so many things. Like,
I'm really tired.
If you haven't got the time to sort of think about stuff, I imagine it's just a little bit less worrying, because that happens to me sometimes. If I'm so busy, I haven't got time to be like worried about it.
Yeah, you can't stop, reflect, and go, "Wow, oh my God, I'm actually worried about a lot of things right now."
And then you can overthink things if you've got the time for it.
Definitely.
So
or they blindside you, like, and you're like, "Oh my God!" Just before you go to bed, you're like, "Oh," you fall into that pit of like, you get like little whirlies, and you're like, "Oh."
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But then, like the night before, I stayed in the car park in Tenby. So basically, I just wanted like a real short walk to where I needed to go to that morning.
Yeah.
Thinking it was a really good idea. And then the rest of my family were in Bluestone, just probably about 20 minutes away, 30 minutes away.
Oh, it's that close, is it? Yeah, I guess it is by Tenby, isn't it?
And they were running buses and things for people. So that was cool.
Right, okay.
But it was like the worst idea ever for me to sleep in that van, because basically I was in a car park and there was boy racers going around the car park most of the night. There was a party in another camper van, literally like 4 or 5 car spaces down.
My God.
I was half tempted to drive back to Bluestone to get the bus with them in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'll cut a long story short, I probably had about 3 hours of broken sleep before doing that.
Perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
That's ideal.
If that.
Imagine, the nerves would be a big thing.
Nerves definitely was, because you speak to other people. I spoke to other people in the morning, and I'd be like, when I was there just checking the bike over, I said, "Oh, did you sleep?" And they'd be like, "Nah."
Yeah,
I reckon the same anyway.
Yeah,
I
can
imagine
imagine
in the same position.
True.
Yeah.
Should we talk about, now we've sort of gone through like all sort of the Ironman stuff, which is like a huge element to sort of stress and stuff like that, but you also did other things in this time span of, say, a year, a bit over, I don't know. Yeah, if you could just sort of explain sort of the things that you did in that year with moving as well and all that.
To be honest with you, I wrote a lot of this down before tonight, just to sort of jog my memory a little bit. I read through it and I was like, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, because basically, as we've touched on, we had a 1-year-old already.
Yeah.
Kat got pregnant, and then obviously the pregnancy throughout, which comes with its ups and downs, and it's quite tough anyway.
Yeah.
I was working constantly, because it was a busy site, it was a stressful site which we were on. Also, when we realised that Catherine was pregnant, we knew that we wanted to move back to Aberystwyth because we were based in Cardiff at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we were looking for houses, trying to get a mortgage, and then towards the end of the year, bought a house, sold the house, just about got the mortgage, had a newborn, got a new job, quit the job, got a new job.
Yeah.
Leading up after the Ironman, literally the morning after the Ironman, I was straight on back onto the phone with the mortgage advisor trying to get this mortgage through so we could actually move back. So there was never any time for me just to go and switch off and just take it in a little bit about what was going on and what I'd achieved or anything like that.
Or reflect on, anything, I suppose.
No.
Of the things you were going through.
So we moved house then as well, and the house we bought needed an absolute ton of work.
Mm-hmm.
So it was moving, new job, moved back to Aber. Bearing in mind now, I don't want anyone. This is all self-inflicted. I want to state that this is not me moaning or anything like that.
It was just a tough.
My own choice, my family's choice. It was just that.
No, but you've
there was
ended
a lot
up in this,
going on.
You've ended up in that position. It's happened, and you're in it, and we're going through how you came out the other side, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then basically went straight into doing up a house which needed a ton of work and a new job, and trying to save face in that new job as well. Just trying to make sure that I was straight.
You're the new guy. You're trying to I don't know. It's bad saying trying to impress, but like when you go in, you almost feel like you have to half prove yourself again, isn't it? Say you put your work into a different company, they know what you're about, they know how good you are at your profession.
Yeah.
You go in, you might have good, CV and references and all the rest of it, but sometimes you feel like, prove yourself over again now.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I think it was like a 6-month probation type thing as well. So it was kind of one of those.
Imagine
sort
sites
of the back
are quite daunting, let's say.
Like the construction sites that I was working on.
It's a whole other sort of thing, that isn't it? In itself, it's like
we'd like to talk about that on another episode. I think just like the construction industry and like the mental health issues of the construction industry, because that's we could talk for hours on that because it is crazy. Yeah. So then was doing up the house, and then pandemic in 2020 March hit.
That fucking thing.
And then work with us got crazy.
Yeah.
And what was tough as well is that summer was probably the toughest I've had mentally.
Yeah.
Which I'll touch on now. But then other people's summers were like no fault of your own.
I had a
really
very different experience.
Because Ned was on furlough, for example.
Yeah.
Whereas I think I had 3 weeks off, if that, I think it was. And what happened is that kind of when I slowed down a little bit, that whole year kind of caught up with me a little bit.
Yeah.
I see.
And I kind of hit a wall. And mentally, I wasn't doing well.
Okay, so let's talk about this then, I suppose. When was it really apparent when you hit this wall? Did you stop and think, holy shit, like?
Yeah, like did you know?
Or was it a gradual thing where you started thinking like, do you know what I mean? Anxiety, stress, whatever, it's all coming to a head.
I think, I mean, when you're in tears in your bathroom on your own before going to work, you start figuring there's something wrong.
And maybe you need to look into it. You know what I mean?
And you become, well, I was very ratty, very irritable.
Yeah.
Like short-tempered.
Very short-tempered.
Yeah.
Very, I wouldn't say aggressive, but just short,
snappy,
snappy.
Wound.
Very snappy.
Tight.
And trying to keep that away from my new job, my work, and just trying to mask that because I was so tired. But my anxiety, because I think I did a sort of mental health awareness course it just came online in work this week, and not dealing with stress properly leads to anxiety.
Yeah.
So I hadn't dealt with it basically.
Yeah.
And it took my wife to say, look, there's something wrong here. You're not yourself. And to be honest with you, in hindsight, I needed a break.
Yeah.
That's it, you know. But my pride wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm the breadwinner for the family. I've got that. I feel like I need to provide for my family.
Yeah.
I didn't want to pull the stress card where I could have pulled it at any point,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and you potentially go on full pay for a few months and stuff like that, and that's a whole other thing about, some people genuinely need that time off, don't they? And other people...
We've all heard people diss people in the workplace. Oh, they're going off with stress. Well, fuck, why? Why are you dissing these people?
You don't know what's going on in the background.
No, you don't know. I'm sure there are some people potentially playing the game, but then there's also lots of other people, like Dave, probably should have gone off with stress. Like,
Definitely.
Looking back, I imagine.
I just couldn't.
You know what I mean?
I couldn't because
I understand
I was in a new job. Imagine
Yeah.
taking time off for stress and you've only just been there sort of 6 months.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Or like you just come out of your probation. By the way,
yeah.
one day after your probation, like
it's
not a good look. Even though looking back, you probably really, really needed it.
Yeah.
Really, really needed a break, and
in an ideal world, the workplace that you're working for would have supported that as well.
Yeah.
And no one would have been like,
yeah, because I guess
What's he doing?
you were in a workplace where they would have supported you and potentially paid you full on, because obviously, like, not all jobs
without
offer
any
that.
negative thinking, without casting any shade on Dave, I meant
Yeah, no, exactly.
I do understand the pride thing, though. I guess this is another reason why I started this podcast. Men have these, I don't know if they're weird. They're not weird, but they're these things kind of drilled into us. And I feel like a little bit like that as well, as in, like, I think I would struggle to take time off work, for an issue, a mental issue, which is the whole reason why we're kind of doing this, is to break down those stigmas. But I would feel like that as well. Like,
really small point then. When was the last time you ever called in sick?
Well, it's only for being really ill.
Yeah.
It's certainly not. I've never called in sick, mentally sick, or whatever you want to call it, stress, anxiety, or anything like that.
But I've definitely finished like a very strong month of work and been like driving home going, oh, I've got 2 days off now. Fuck, that's amazing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and you like really appreciate a break, and you know that maybe the next week is pretty chill at work, and you're like, oh, get to do some paperwork. Can't wait to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
If you can,
it's different for everybody, but
get a break. But yeah, obviously with like the family life, it's harder to get the break going home. So I imagine you probably needed like a 2-week spa.
I don't know what it would have been.
Like away from people.
I don't know what it would have been. I mean, yeah. In hindsight, I would have 100% just had a break. Just needed to take time out. And if anyone's sort of going through that, I mean, what I had to do was I'm happy to talk about it. I had to go and speak to somebody.
Yeah.
And when I did, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Did you feel amazing. like weight lifted off your shoulders when you spoke to them?
You would not believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he literally asked, because it was over the phone, because it was through the pandemic, and all he said was, how can I help you today? I started talking about what we'd done as a family, and then what I had been going through, and how I was feeling. Started like bawling my eyes out.
Yeah. Once you pause, map it out.
Yeah.
I bet you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Where were you when you rang him? Yeah.
I rang him. Yeah. I was sitting in my van across the road, just literally across the road, because I wanted to be on my own, obviously.
Yeah, I get that.
You know,
I get that. Yeah.
And just wanted to talk to a counsellor who was recommended to me.
Yeah.
And it was just literally one question he asked. And to be honest with you, the stigma of like med don't talk. As soon as you do, you will not believe the weight that lifted off my shoulders when I did.
Thank goodness you did, and also thank goodness for Kat sort of recognizing the fact that you needed to talk, or you needed some advice or counselling or whatever that may be.
She intervened. Hey, saw something, and
that's sometimes what needs to happen. Like on, say like on that previous episode with Lee, said someone had to sort of intervene in his life. I think sometimes maybe you need that person to intervene and think like, hang on, what is going on here, and maybe you need to talk about something that might be an issue here. Or something,
Definitely. Thank goodness that you got recommended, someone so trained and, in that field that answered the phone.
Well, exactly.
How many sessions did you have, if you don't mind me asking you?
I think I had 2.
And I imagine you felt so much better after these 2.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Crazy.
I think they've got, certainly they're well trained, but I mean, I guess someone, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but it was just so good to actually just talk about it and be totally open about how I was feeling, and knowing that I'm not going to get judged by that person, I think as well.
That's a really big thing, isn't it? I think maybe particularly for a man, because we sort of maybe care more about being judged. I don't know, do you know what I mean?
I think all 3 of us around this table, we commonly, I think men in general probably think that, you're absolutely right. Like, I don't care so much about what other people think. I care how I think other people think. Does that make sense? So I turn it on myself.
It's just a bit drilled into us, I think, sort of like over
like how I put myself out there.
Life, another thing, I suppose. So amazing that you went out, and it's quite brave as well, I think, for a guy to sort of go out and reach out for help, because I think that's the best thing you can do, and it's sort of the bravest thing you can do as well, because we talked about these sort of stigmas and stuff like that. And you said your sort of anxiety got sort of quite bad after bottling everything up. Oh yeah. If you know what I mean. Oh yeah. Have you ever sort of suffered with anxiety previous to that hectic year that you had?
Yeah. I mean, I've struggled with it through different stages of my life, definitely. And there's 2 distinct areas of my life which I remember like vividly. So in school is one, and then my late 20s was another.
Okay.
So in school, I would suffer with like an anxiety of, I was really nervous. Well, nervous is the wrong word. I was really anxious about sitting in a class and the teacher asking me a question and me not knowing the answer to it.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds really trivial, but I would get myself into such a muddle and such worry that I really wouldn't know what the teacher was trying to teach, because all I was thinking about was I was so worried about them asking me a question
and
that I really wouldn't be listening.
Silly, but you wouldn't have looked silly, but in your head you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to look stupid here.
Yeah. But what would happen is that if they ever did ask me a question, then I would literally have nothing to say, because all I've been thinking about is me worrying about something I might not be able to answer, and then I would just go dead silent and just blush really, really badly.
And then that is also, I imagine, like embarrassing, isn't it? And then people can visually see it then. And it's school. Kids are brutal.
Yeah.
Kids are brutal.
Kids are brutal.
No filter.
And and bullying is gross. But it happens all the time, doesn't it?
It does. And I suppose I suffered with that for like a couple of years, I'd say, in school.
Imagine you're on pins when you're in the class.
The whole time.
If all you're thinking about is, oh my God, is she or he going to ask me a question?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, this is it.
I also didn't know until, I think Dave told me that 2 days ago, briefly, not on this level, and I couldn't believe it either.
Yeah. It's and then I don't know how it just went. It was really weird. Maybe I just matured a bit, but I think what I was doing after I left school, I got very good at asking people the questions. So the focus then wasn't on me. I would ask the questions in conversation rather than me getting put on the spot in a conversation. Does that make sense?
Deflecting.
Deflecting, it probably is.
Yeah, or it sounds like, I don't know it, but it sounds like you're sort of deflecting, in case you get caught off guard or whatever your worry is, but you said that sort of faded away, sort of 2 years, and you don't know what happened. It just
I don't know. I think I don't know. I just gained more confidence.
How old were you when you struggled with it?
I reckon I was 14, 15, 16.
And then you came out of it.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit
16,
older.
17 or something.
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe sixth form you kind of came out of it, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I just had a bit more confidence, and just felt more confident with the teachers, because I think when you get to sixth form, I think it gets a bit more relaxed, and but it wasn't like
definitely did for us.
it wasn't it wasn't as anywhere near as bad. I would have maybe certain times that it might creep back in, but I was able to sort of like just control it a little bit, and then move on, not dwell on it either, because if it happened, then I would dwell on it really bad. So if I had like a blushing episode or whatever, I would really dwell on it, and it would properly ruin my day.
Wow.
Properly ruin my day.
Imagine it could, but back sort of in the day, because I don't know, school, it can be like, luckily, I'm sure same for Dave as well, because this is like a snippet of Dave's life in school, but I think we all had a pretty positive sort of school experience, or at least I did. I seem to think you did. I seem to think you did. But some people, like, do feel sorry for people who really, really struggled. I know you didn't. This is like one sort of thing in school, but like I do genuinely feel sorry for people who said that their school life was hell. You know what I mean? It must be. It must be rough.
Yeah, it must be. So then it just went right. It just I was cool with everything. I was relaxed in social environments and everything. And then what happened was, like, years later, sort of like towards my mid to late 20s, in between jobs, I ended up getting a job in an office, which is like sales.
Yeah.
And in this office job, like in a sales environment as well, there's a lot of big characters in there.
Yeah.
And in this particular company, it was quite a big, a culture of, you got to get up and say a joke, or you got to get up and do a little dance in the corner and try and make everybody laugh, just to try and make it a bit more vibrant.
Team building exercises,
all that sort of rubbish. So basically, again, those feelings from school started to creep back in on me being on pins, because I was worried about getting called out again.
And that's like what, 10 years later?
10 years later.
Crazy.
So, but the problem is that I was feeling like that, and then what?
I want to level with you. I would have hated that.
Oh, it was horrible.
Like, I would have hated.
Oh, you mean being in that
not
position?
Knowing if oh my god, I'd have written down 30 jokes just in case.
Yeah.
Oh fuck that.
I can imagine a lot of people not liking that, but I can also understand it maybe like resurfacing some stuff from school, I suppose.
It wasn't my environment at all.
Fair enough.
It really wasn't my environment.
I was there
to earn some money.
Yeah.
That's all I cared about. I wanted to go home.
Yeah.
But the whole culture, not for me. But then it then manifested itself a little bit further, because then going real deep. I started getting social anxiety.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
With people.
Yeah.
And going outside. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't want to go out, and I didn't want to bump into anybody from work, because again, I was scared of how the conversation was going to go, and then if I did bump into somebody, I wouldn't have anything to say again, and I'd just start blushing again, and it'd be so awkward.
Wow.
It was horrible. So if that happened, then obviously my day was just like, it was like embarrassing, because I just didn't know how to control it. And the whole time I was with my girlfriend then, who's now my wife.
Yeah.
She had no idea.
No.
Absolutely no idea. And this was going on for months.
When did Kat know about it?
I told her.
When?
She had no idea.
Wow.
When I was still in that job.
Yeah.
And I talked about it.
With Kat, yeah?
With her.
Yeah?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, talking about these problems, again, the weight just went...
So that was another great thing to do, I'm guessing.
It just opened up and just talked to her about it. And she was really understanding, because, again, as a bloke, you don't want to come across like I'm weak or...
Yeah.
So it sounds trivial, doesn't it, when you just talk about it out loud?
Yeah,
trivial.
it does.
Well,
but
why
then
can't you just talk to someone? Like,
yeah,
what's
I know.
the matter with you?
But then if there's sort of
It's a niggle.
underlying issues
Get bigger and bigger.
previous, and maybe it's even reminding you of back then. I'm not sort of switched on enough to understand this or trained enough, but maybe it's probably tied back to something from school in a relatively similar situation, not exactly the same, but then it's like dragging up old stuff, maybe. You know what I mean? With the blushing thing as well, I mean, you know?
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, no psychologist, but there's got to be a reason for it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get to the bottom
No.
of that. But like,
we could speculate on that, but I don't know what.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting theories for stuff
when
like
you're
that,
young, you meet a lot of new people, as in secondary school, I think that goes with every single human being on the planet, unless you're absolutely cocksure of yourself, you know.
Oh yeah,
you're going to get embarrassed, you know.
Definitely.
Harvard or whatever, they call you out and they say this, and you're like, oh my god, I'm on the spot, I think everybody goes through that, but I don't know. Yours was more, it seems.
Oh, it was, and
it resonated with you for a long period of time.
Definitely, yeah, it really did.
Yeah,
and I do sort of still get little phases of it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, has it like totally phased out from that point when you worked for that sales company, or just got better?
I think it's just got better, and I've learned to sort of control it.
Yeah.
I think it'll always be there, because I've discussed like my sleep and things, you know, not necessarily the social anxiety type of things, but like just the anxiousness sometimes when I'm really stressed, for example. That's when the anxiety sort of comes back, and if you don't deal with it, then it obviously escalates, and that's where my sleep gets affected. And but yeah, like at the moment, all good, if I'm completely honest, and probably a lot to do with what we're doing here now has helped massively.
Well, I was going to say, like, this podcast is working, even just for us three, because, like, you know, I've opened up about something I didn't even know I needed to open up about,
and I didn't know it about you.
No.
Yeah, exactly, and I equally the same with this. Like, I didn't even know you worked in that office. A, and two, I didn't even know it affected you so much.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about the thing in school, because you were one of the people I always, like, not like envious, but I was like, oh, he's a popular dude, and you know, there were several in my year. I was like, oh, I look up to those guys, you know, like, because I was from the sticks, you know, I came from Triathlon, and I was like, oh, this is town, yeah, it is, like, do you know what I mean, like,
yeah, I think me and you were maybe a little bit more in one particular group of school, and then maybe Dave, or at least I think it merged in sixth form.
Yeah,
so we all started hanging out.
It kept doing that, didn't it?
It
did, and then we got closer and closer. But I would say, Dave seemed to, on the outside looking in, maybe with the more sort of like popular kids in the earlier years of school. But then the three of us, the things that I've been friends with Dave since I was like literally, you know, very
primary,
young.
Yeah,
primary, because we went to the same primary school.
Yeah.
But yeah, in secondary school, we sort of like, disconnected a bit, because I met you, Dave went off with, I don't know what, maybe more popular kids, and then we sort of like met again in sixth form. That's what it seemed like anyway, a little bit.
The circle was sort of kept us
together
anyway, didn't it?
Yeah,
and
no, it did. It's not like we didn't see each other.
And music, obviously, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, talking about the podcast, I mean, it's weird, isn't it? It's helping us three, and I guess the whole reason why we started this is to help people. But weirdly, it's like an afterthought of helping ourselves, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It's really strange.
I really look forward to it though. But I like when I'll leave here now and I'll go about my next week. I'll be like, oh, can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Because like I miss you guys, like personally anyway. But I love. On another level, like I love just chatting with you anyway.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
Oh, that's still missing you guys, I guess. But yeah,
and we don't get to do it enough, do we?
I'm not like massively sad about it. I think it's just a natural feeling. It's, you know, it's like you accept it. You can't change it. You can't. You know, you got families. I got work. You got work. None of our cycles.
Yeah, it's
going. I know. I think it just doesn't naturally happen.
But like, making times like this. We're bumping into you down the other day with the sups, and you were like, borrow this one for a bit. Like magic, absolute magic.
No, it is.
And even if you're not doing a podcast, what we do is roughly every 2 weeks we try and get one done, because we love it, and we're trying to push it for a good cause in a way, aren't we?
Yeah.
About men
and we're
sort of
always
talking.
WhatsApping, like.
Oh yeah, but for other people, just meet up every week or 2 weeks, and you don't have to do a podcast to do it, but just try and talk and be a little bit more honest.
Yeah.
Because it's certainly helped us three. You know, me with my dad, Med with sort of food, which I never knew about, and then Dave, with a bit of anxiety, and I think we're only just like scratching the surface as well, because it's not like we found out everything about all of us in one sort of episode.
Definitely
There's a lot going on in everyone's lives.
And I definitely know,
and that's okay.
Totally okay,
isn't it?
And I know that the issues you faced through school, etc., the issues I faced in my younger days in chefing, and your father, we're not alone in that.
Exactly.
Even a lot of people go through a lot of all of the things that we went through. It's not crazy. Everyone has pitfalls and stuff like that.
And there's no shame in reaching out to someone, because
Definitely,
I'll be honest with you, that's the best
not.
thing I did was actually speak to someone, because I needed to, and that's fine.
I'm really happy you did it.
Exactly. It's absolutely fine to do that, because
the flip side of that is dark, and we might not be doing this.
Well, this is it. That is obviously.
I don't mean because you're not going to be here.
No,
but I mean we might not have even thought about it.
No, exactly. And there's professionals out there. Hopefully you've got a friend to speak to, a family member to speak to. It just takes the weight off.
Yep.
That weight on the shoulders or whatever it is, just opening up.
Yep.
It's like a problem shared is a problem halved, as they say, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think
we've said that on every podcast.
Got to.
It's a good old slogan, that one. It's a good old slogan.
But you've never suffered with any sort of like anxiety or anything like that, do you think? Or you touched on it with your speech, didn't you?
Oh, I think it was me.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if I'd call it like anxiety, but when I was younger, I talked to my mum about this actually, because sometimes you remember something from your childhood, and you're almost worried sometimes, or I do, if you've sort of like twisted the story a little bit, because it's so long ago, sometimes you second guess yourself and you think, no, I'm pretty sure that happened, sort of thing. So I spoke to my mum about it when I was really young, actually. So between the age of 5 and 10, I don't know exactly where, but I was in primary school. I would get so excited to tell a story to someone that I had quite a bad stutter. So I would like, and if I got excited, it got way, way worse. So, like when you're kids, you're all excited to tell your friends about a new toy or a new story or whatever. You're excited all the time, aren't you? And I was stuttering really, really badly. And shout out to my mum. She noticed it and like clocked it when I was young. So I don't know, let's call it 7. I don't know how old I was. And my mum took me to a speech therapist, and she was like,
what?
I think my mum was switched on enough all those years ago to think that could be a problem, that could.
Yeah.
Is in affecting your confidence, your self-esteem, all that stuff. And fair play to my mum, she sort of saw it maybe pretty early, but looking back, I had a pretty good stutter, I would say, when I was younger.
Didn't know that.
No, I did not know
that.
And
then my mum sent me to like some speech therapist and got it ironed out.
That's mad. How old were you then, did you say?
Yeah,
7-ish?
ish. Because I had to ask my
mum.
I had to ask my mum that, though, you see, because like I said, I was worried that I was remembering it wrong or something, so I double checked, and she was like, no, you're pretty young. But in terms of anxiety and stuff, yeah, certainly. Another one I can remember is I'm a lot better now. I think sometimes it comes naturally with age, sort of confidence, but it was weird. When I was young, I could talk in front of a big group of people, and there's a video somewhere of me doing like a play, and I was like introducing the play. There was like 100 people. Yeah, so I was like, really young then, like, yeah, maybe before the stutter happened, so call it like 5 or 6 or something like that. Then I had the stutter. And then, but then when I was in secondary school and I had to read something out in the hall, I was physically shaking holding a bit of paper. I remember it was like, God knows what I was reading.
It's grim, isn't it?
But it was either in front of, one time I was in front of the whole year, which was slightly better, but then it was essentially in front of the whole school, which is like a couple hundred people maybe or something. It's
quite a lot of people.
And it was like me and like, say, 3 or 4 others. I can't remember who it was, but anyway, I just remember I had a bit of paper. All I had to do was read out probably like, I don't know, literally 10 lines. And my leg was like shaking a bit and my hand was shaking. And then it's worse, it's similar to that blushing thing, isn't it? You're like, oh my God, I'm visibly shaking here. Other people are going to notice the fact that I'm visibly shaking, and it gets 10 times worse.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like,
it's in your head then,
tensing the bit of paper to try and stop myself from doing it. But
and that ground just opens you up, and you're like, swallow me, please.
I know. And then relatively recently, I don't know when I did it, but I started doing things with my job. So say going to schools and doing talks, not in front of a large group of people, but just say up to 20 people or something like that. And I think when I was younger, I'd have worried about that, but obviously growing up and different things happening in my life, sort of I've got more comfortable talking, and I guess now talking on a podcast and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I was not good at talking in front of people
Did not
at
know that.
all. I get really, really nervous about it, worrying about it, and I'm sure I knew I was going to go up on that stage and read it. And I probably worried for that whole week, feeling sick
Whoa.
because I had to read that out in school. But yeah, Med, can you think
Well,
of
another like a little evolution from yours is like, I thought in my current job, because I speak to people, I announce on the daily, like every day. Did it today. I had a show on today. I have to announce to the audience, 15-minute call, 5-minute call, final call. Hi guys, please get in. Toilets are over there. Speaking to people all the time.
by like the curtain, and you're looking at the chairs, you mean, like in your job?
Oh, I've had to do that if there's a car park wrong or something. You never know. But,
yes.
I thought, by announcing through like a PA system, you hear your own voice, and you're like, everybody in this building can hear me speaking right now.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah, but when I first started that, I was shaking so bad. I was like, I had it written down on a piece of paper, and I was like, I even tried to record it on my phone, so I could put my phone up against it, so I would actually have to speak.
Anything to get out.
Anything to get out,
doing it. Yeah.
But now it's like fucking easy.
Practice makes perfect.
But when I spoke at my brother's wedding, for the whole week, well, a month leading up to it, once I'd written it, I was like, oh my god, okay, that's the weight off my shoulders. I've written it. I've got the idea. I've got the structure. But then, oh my god, that day, it was such a beautiful day. And I don't want to make it anything about me, but like I couldn't fucking focus on anything else. I was like, oh, that's beautiful, yeah, you look lovely, that's great. In a minute, I'm going to have to speak in front of all these people.
Oh, it's so hard, like a speech at a wedding.
As soon as you did that
so
speech,
hard.
though, I bet you were like,
God.
I can enjoy, I can drink my beers, I can have fun, I can enjoy the night.
I remember I sat with Rach, my partner, next to a fire that I think had just been lit. And I had a cigarette and I had a big old beer, and I was just like, that's what heaven tastes like, bitch.
Bliss.
So good.
Bliss.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I think I've only been the best man once, but that was with a group of people as well. It was like 4 of us.
So you weren't the best man. Were you the best man on your own?
Oh, it's tough.
Yeah, I've never done that.
And
so
like to be honest, like this may be another podcast down the line, but I was flabbergasted that I was picked to be his best man in a way.
Okay.
Like, because he's got so many good friends that he's
he
known
does.
more than me because of history and stuff. But like, I was like, oh, absolutely, I accept.
Something about a brother though, isn't it?
Shit.
As well?
Oh my god, here we go. Yeah.
Like because you were Gavin was yours though,
Yeah,
right?
he was, yeah.
That's what I was talking about, brothers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's a special bond.
He
isn't it?
absolutely smashed it though.
Oh, it was good. Yeah, he absolutely hammered me. The problem is...
Yeah, but he hammered you, but he was also quite soft as well. That was nice.
Trying to get a mixture right.
It was funny, actually, because before... It was payback, basically. Because before his wedding, his mate, he sent out an email to everybody, okay, and he said, send me some stories about Gav. So I sent him everything I knew.
Yeah,
thinking he's going to filter a load of these out. He's not going to say half of these, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he said them all.
Oh.
Every single one of them. And it was like,
All
oh
the
my
ammo.
God. It was pretty bad. But no, it was funny, but not for Gav. So basically, he paid me back.
He got you back.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
Fair enough, I'd
Yeah,
say.
it's my fault.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But no, it's tough. Tough doing a speech, definitely.
So yeah, I think
Definitely.
if anyone's listening to this and they're going through anything, listening, like, you know, you're about to speak in a school situation or in front of people, it's okay to feel fucking nervous about it.
Yeah, it is. Because I
Yeah.
certainly did. I felt real scared. when
But
I
once
had
you
to go to
open it,
school.
once you say a couple of words and you're in and you're in the flow and you know what you're saying, you know what you're doing, and you know what you're talking about, you're all good, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You get to the end and
Yeah, and I think people tie that up with anxiety as well. I think personally that's different.
Yeah.
That's like nerves.
Oh
for
yeah,
an event,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yes.
True. I'm not saying
That's
it's
not
like
that'll go
anxiety.
then.
yeah, I don't have it now.
Yes.
Like I don't
No.
have no.
No,
I'm
you're right.
completely
No,
it's
exactly.
completely normal now.
Yeah. Me shaking reading that piece of paper. Yeah, you're right. It's probably not like anxiety. It's me going, I really, really don't want to be reading this in front of 200 people and looking embarrassed.
Yeah.
It's like relative. It's pretty normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And me shaking, thinking, oh my god, like I said, kids are brutal. Luckily, I don't think I had anything too bad of that, but like it'd only take one person to sort of say, "Oh my God, Luke's really shaking really bad," and then you get ripped for it.
Worse.
You know what I mean?
It just gets worse, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you imagine D block corridor and they're like everybody's shaking. You're like, oh my God, I'm not walking down there.
I know, it's bad in school though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kids are brutal.
It's like coming from Treadwell and having long hair, mate. We should do a bullying episode, I tell you.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
I
it would
haven't
be
actually
good.
thought about that, but bullying is gross, and particularly now because I got children.
Yeah.
I feel so strongly about how horrible it is. You know what
So
I mean?
fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Gross.
Especially in today's day and age, we talked about it on the social media one. It's like,
Phones.
especially with the phones and everything, because it doesn't go away.
Exactly.
It's with them constantly. So
Yeah, and even if that thing goes online, and then it's almost impossible to delete something online, and it lives forever online, and it's just like this whole other thing that we didn't have to deal with when we were in school. We had our own stuff going on, but we didn't have phones or anything, or everyone recording every like fight that you might have had, or
an embarrassing
or
moment.
or an embarrassing moment. Like say
Yeah.
now you in class, you were talking like that, me reading that thing up there, someone just whipped out a phone, and then it's just like 10 times worse because you're reliving it over and over and over,
Over and
again.
over again.
And to add to that,
Yeah.
they could put a
Sorry.
filter on your face where you look like you're crying or like something, you know?
That filter's nuts.
It's absolutely mad what can happen these
I
days.
know, technology
Yeah.
is amazing, and it's also terrible.
No, it is.
So,
Yeah, it really is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well done for opening up, Dave, on this episode. I know this is what it's all about, but I know it's not easy sometimes. It should be easier than it is, but it isn't, and that's the whole point of the podcast. And we talk about men a lot, even though women have just as many problems as men. I just think men are worse at it than women talking about their problems, so well done.
That's thank you. I appreciate that. But I think what I'd like to say is if anyone is going through like a really hard year, for example, again, I'd like to reiterate that was my own doing.
Yep.
But it did catch up with me.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to say is take time for yourself. It's really important. Things can wait.
Yeah.
Because what's the phrase? Make time for your wellness, otherwise you'll be making time for your illness. And I read that recently and I thought that is awesome.
That's
Because it's so true.
a perfect little saying, isn't it?
Because it did catch up with me. And I didn't take any time out. Unfortunately, I had to keep going. But just talking to someone, just have a breather.
That helped enough, I suppose.
It did.
Picking
yeah.
up the phone and speaking to a professional who's willing to listen to you, no judgment.
No judgment whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was massive for me. Even just a couple of sessions, I know that was really easy for him, I guess. Obviously people are going to take a lot more sessions or other help. But for me, just reaching out and asking for help. And I did have people that I was reaching out to as well at the time, who I knew also suffered.
I think that probably happens a lot, doesn't it? Because then you know full well they're not going to judge you. And I think this is also what's happening with the podcast, is I've noticed that more people have approached myself, just like you're probably aware of it as well, because they know, or they're pretty sure, and it is true, that we're not going to judge them. So if someone else has struggled, they're not going to judge you.
More than happy to listen.
If we're opening up on this podcast and trying to promote
stuff, need to turn that into a culture. Need to turn, all men need to turn this judgment thing, delete it, just turn it into a culture where you're not going to get judged if you're going to talk to your friend or talk to even maybe someone you don't know, just someone who'll listen to you. Don't be worried that you're going to get judged.
Yeah, you want to flip it.
And you shouldn't judge them.
You want to flip it.
It shouldn't be a thing.
People will think, oh, cool, they're not going to judge me. They're the minority. It should be the other way around. It should be like, that's weird. That person's judging me for whatever
Absolutely.
it may be.
Yeah.
But it does feel like it's the other way around, isn't it? That there's a minority who would listen and not judge you, maybe.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know.
The Offspring said it, mate. It's cool to hate.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think we were watching UFC last weekend, or the weekend before.
Yeah.
And the whole stigma, and that came out after Paddy Pimblett won his fight, which has just gone absolutely crazy online.
Yeah.
He did that amazing speech.
Incredible use of his platform.
Incredible use of his platform.
That speech is incredible.
It really is, and personally, I think that has now gone down in history as one of the best speeches, not just after UFC event, but after any sport event.
Certainly a
because
combat
of the
sport
impact
event.
it's had.
But yeah, maybe a sporting event.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that, I've shared it on our Facebook at least. But check that out, because so many people, loads of people are guilty of it. They just maybe promote themselves when they get that time. It doesn't have to be combat sports. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Like a footballer being interviewed afterwards. 99% of the time they'll just talk about themselves or something relatively trivial or the game. But for him to sort of say what he said and utilise that time that he had after the fight and that platform, it's absolutely incredible. And it was weird for me and you to watch it, because me and Dave watched it live, and he sort of made the speech, and then me and Dave looked at each other and we're thinking, that is crazy. He's sort of saying almost everything that we're trying to embody in this podcast.
Yeah.
And it was really weird but amazing.
Oh, it's just really moving, because obviously you could see his grief.
Oh yeah,
you could full on see his grief, and
yeah,
he just really, really felt for the guy.
Yeah.
And he spoke so well.
Yeah, and it was
real humble, real truthful.
Yeah.
And so relatable.
Certainly
He
from
was
the heart.
Even though he's this
well.
massive superstar, so relatable.
Yeah, he was. You could tell that he wasn't doing it for any sort of self-promotion or
Absolutely
anything
not.
like that. It was 100% because he lost his friend. Literally a day or two previous to his fight. I think he said it was 4 or 5 hours before his weigh-in.
That's it.
Yeah.
And like I said, check that speech out if you haven't heard that speech.
And they're saying that after that, I think there's been 5 times as many more inquiries to men's mental health charities.
Doesn't
phone
surprise me,
calls, because of that.
Yeah.
People's lives will be saved. He's definitely saved a few people's lives.
100%.
Without a doubt.
I reckon.
Yeah, incredible stuff.
Definitely. And particularly so because he's sort of like an MMA fighter as well. I think there's a little added thing to it. As in he's
It's a very macho environment.
Literally a tough guy. His profession is being a tough guy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So he couldn't be. It was a perfect storm for him to do that. I think he was the perfect person to do it.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Fair play to him, hats off to him.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you want to wrap it up? Should we just...
I just think it's amazing that you've opened up, and I hope you feel even better now after this podcast.
Yeah.
It's similar to you did when you spoke to that professional, which is an amazing thing to do, and anybody who is struggling should at least talk to somebody, if not a professional, if you feel like you need to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
But,
and there's no shame in that.
And
Absolutely
I'm not a
no.
professional in any way, but mate, I've said this all my life. I'm at the end of a phone, and you know where I live. Over there, over there.
No,
But you'll
I
have to
appreciate
check that. But
yeah, thank you. I know that. And once I'll just say it again. If you are having any sort of issues, any struggles, please just speak to somebody. It really is as simple as that.
speak and talk.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Get off your chest. It feels good.
It does feel good.
Exactly.
And
It's mad.
it just helps a huge amount.
Yeah, I'd say talking about serious stuff, crying. There's a load of stuff, and guys are so bad at it.
They're terrible at
Me
it.
included. I'm really,
Terrible
really
at
bad. I'm a terrible crier. I'll tell myself I know I need to cry, and I haven't cried a lot in my life, and it's obviously some weird internal thing holding me back. And I reckon a lot of guys know what this is, where you get a lump in your throat, and you start welling up, and everything in your body is probably telling you to cry, right? But then also everything in my body is dragging it back, saying, don't do it.
Don't do it.
How weird is that? But I've definitely got that. So when I get upset, could be absolutely anything. You're watching something really heartbreaking on the TV or something like that. I'd say my partner's crying, she's watching it, it's really upsetting. But I'm not crying, but I'm mega upset with a lump in my throat, and I just feel really... I don't know what it is, guys are terrible at it.
Terrible at it. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's a pride thing again, though, isn't it?
It's just so weird. I don't know. It's weird me saying it, but it's definitely okay to cry, even though I'm terrible at it. I need to get better.
I cry like fuck. I cry.
Good.
I cry.
I wish I could.
Do you remember when I was messaging you guys
can.
when I was listening to music the other night, and I was just messaging you you need to listen to this band,
Yes.
I was fucking every video I was just watching. I was like, it's my eyes out. I love it. I know I cry.
Maybe I need to. I need to work on that. I think I said it in a previous podcast, and I grieved, for my dad and stuff, and I cried, but only I don't know. I'll have to look into it, but it's obviously something. It's that weird pride thing, isn't it, of the crying thing.
I think what I do is I don't fight it at all.
I'm trying not to
I'm not
fight it.
subconsciously doing that. I'm not like subconsciously going, oh, here come the tears, have it. You know, I'm not doing that. It's just, I don't know. It's really hard to explain. I feel the tears and I'm like, yeah, let it go.
It's on.
That is
good.
that is really good.
I don't know if there's a decision my brain makes.
I don't know what my brain's doing, but it's like
Fighting it.
it's going, don't do that. But I don't know why.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I'm just being honest about when I cry.
Yeah.
It's normally like a big lump in my throat. My eyes are welling up, but it's never like bawling. And I probably need to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To let stuff out.
Let it out. Yeah, no, that also helps as well. Yeah, definitely. When I have, it's like, that's a release.
Yeah, I bet.
It really is.
I bet, because I just feel pressure in my head, lump in my throat, and my eyes are just welling up. That's about it.
Not crying.
That's your cue to cry, by the way.
You should cry. It can give you headaches and stuff. Because the pressure is right there.
Yeah.
Then you go to bed like that.
But it's not like I'm trying not to.
No.
It's just some weird man bullshit that I've got inside me, probably. I'm just being honest. Yeah.
No, that's fair enough.
Need to try and get rid of it. Basically, that's why we're doing the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? Try and get better.
I think we'd all better watch Titanic again then.
There was enough room on that door.
There wasn't enough room on that door.
There was definitely enough room on that door. Like, she's basically
what we're talking about. What
basically
door?
being pretty selfish there. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I remember it right. She's literally on a door, right? Huge door, big like brass knob on it.
Otherwise it wouldn't float.
Jack looks freezing, looks pretty cold, bless him. Blue lips going on there. There's enough room there. Get him on board with you.
Get him on.
Get him on there.
What the hell you're on about there? But yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
It's way too big, that door, for one
You know
person.
what? Like, we haven't talked about it. But great film though. I like the aspect of like the new bit.
I've watched it a lot.
I think I've only watched it once, you know.
I've seen it more than that. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times. I've watched it about 6-7 years ago, and it's quite good. You've got the modern bit, haven't you, where they're kind of like digging it all up and they're seeing the trinkets and stuff.
First time,
and then it goes back.
It's the first time
in
they
the
ever
time
videoed
and
the
stuff.
Titanic.
Was it?
Yeah.
What? And they used that footage?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Mad. You know what? I love like
3 hours
shipwreck footage, and like that's
what
amazing.
about the one in the? I'm gonna butcher this to quote you.
Yeah.
Antarctic or the Arctic. They found that wreck of a really long lost boat recently.
The one I sent on the
They'd known it was there for a long time.
Yeah,
They
they
just
couldn't
couldn't get
find
to
it.
it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's so sick.
Yeah, that is amazing.
I love looking at footage or like a little like sub, and then it'll go down to like the bottom of the ocean where they can, where the pressure is okay, I'm guessing. And then you see those fish. What are those fish?
Well,
What are those fish? Like that angler fish. That is sick.
it's impressive.
How are they living down there?
It's got like
when,
see-through teeth.
You know, this can would turn into the size of like a thimble.
Oh yeah.
How are they living down there?
They got this weird like remember those really like those terrible like fake witches nails you used to wear for like Halloween, like see-through like nail things or whatever. Those little like a witch's nose. They look like they're made of that.
Stars.
With like really bad bones in
Where's
it.
he going with this?
And see-through teeth and stuff. And then like a weird like what is going on under that sea?
Well, they use the light, didn't they, to get the fish to go, oh, what's that? That's pretty. And
Yeah, I know,
they
but
slam
like-
them down.
Of course it is,
But like
yeah.
It's fishing.
like it's pitch black down there. There's hardly any food.
It's like almost worse than it's like obsidian. It's so black.
It's like the opposite of us
Light
now,
can't
isn't
go
it?
there.
We've got like all, you know, the clean water. We just buy any food we want. Like they're just like a
Yeah, we go to
born
Tesco's.
feeder, no food, freezing cold, no light. How are they alive?
Constantly fighting pressure. Oh man. And then
Shit, isn't it?
And then what's his name?
Terrible,
James
terrible
Cameron
life.
comes down with his fucking
That's what I was
torch.
thinking of.
He's like, what's up?
I was thinking there's a director who does all that deep sea sort of submissions.
Yeah, I think it was
and all
James
that,
Cameron
wasn't
did
it?
Titanic.
I'm sure it's James Cameron.
Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
You're
Avatar.
probably right.
Avatar
Avatar.
I was thinking David Cameron now, but that's definitely not him.
Definitely not him.
Who's David Cameron?
Ex-Prime Minister.
Oh
Tory.
my god. What a flake.
Yeah.
Ooh, politics would be a good
No.
I don't know if it would, you know.
I don't know enough.
No.
You know what?
I just know
neither
how
do
I feel. And
I just think these. I don't know. They're all from eating. What do they know about my life? I don't know if they know how much a loaf of bread is. How can they run the country on someone like us, who's like they're normal people?
Yeah.
They're not normal. They're normal people,
don't
but
live
they're
like a normal person.
you know, like
No.
it's so far away from my reality and our reality. The way they grew up, and then they like they learn to debate in a private school, and like it's just so far from most people's working class lives, isn't it?
Completely different.
Just don't know
No.
anything about it. So yeah, but
And they won't be
maybe
told.
that can be a podcast.
And they won't be told, from what I can gather.
I don't know.
Doesn't go in.
This could be a huge episode, this one. I'm like holding back a little bit. Not because I disagree with you, but just because it's like, it's just opening up a huge can of worms, couldn't we? Just
they say don't talk about religion or politics because people get like really like strong opinions on it. So they'll be like Brexit as well.
Oh, he's throwing the B in there. He's throwing it in.
What the?
Yeah.
Food for thought for future episodes.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, yeah. But all right, I'm happy to wrap this one up.
Let's do it.
I mean, like,
Let's do it.
Again, talk. That's all you need to do. It makes things a lot easier.
Yeah.
Talk, yeah.
And fair play doing an Ironman, and fair play opening up, Dave.
Yeah, thank you.
That was good.
No worries. Cheers, boys.
Good.
Amazing.